Chapter 1 of the Matt Rhule era at Nebraska is in the books, ending with a 5-7 season. With the transfer window opening up and coaches moving to the 2024 season, it really is time to wrap it up and start with Chapter 2. We're going to look back at the 2023 season with Steven M. Sipple and Mitch Sherman. Sean Callahan will join us to talk recruiting and the portal, all coming up next on Big Red Wrap-Up. Michael Severe, welcome to Big Red Wrap-Up on Nebraska Public Media. It was quite the book for the 2023 season. We're going to get into a bunch of those chapters now. Joined former Huskers, Jay Moore and Damon Benning. It wasn't a horror novel, but it was kind of a thriller, wasn't it? It had a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, there definitely was a lot of ups and downs. You know, it started off ugly. There's some good things that you finish in the middle of the season and you get some good things going. You get 3 straight wins. You're undefeated in October. And then you think, you know, the back half of that schedule, like, oh, this is doable. You know, this is definitely doable. You thought the book would be a nice, easy ending, and then it's like, man, there was all sorts of craziness, and you know, all sorts of things happen, and you know, realistically, they just didn't get done. Yeah. And that's just the crazy part, because it was so doable, and it looked very realistic and in front of them to at least get 2 more wins out of those 4. They didn't get any, so you just can't still leave your head. You're scratching your head a little bit. Now, you know, even the season's a couple weeks old.
Yeah, it's always funny when you lose and how you lose, because the expectations are so fluid that they change throughout the course of the season. We were on track to get to where most people thought we would be, although it looked a little different. Then you had a couple of games you gave away, and then disappointment kind of set in as the season progressed. But if you look at it in its totality, Nebraska's on track, and I think they're in a good place, especially with the dirty C word, right, culturally, because I think that's the most important thing in year 1, is to define how you're going to run your program, and for that, I think they're ahead of schedule.
One tough part was, at least for the fan base, it kind of felt like a continuation of things we've seen because of some of the mistakes. At the same time, it really was a different story because you could see different things happening on the field.
Yeah, you can. You can look at it in different ways. You know, you can be an optimist or a pessimist in the situation. A pessimist is going to say, hey, Nebraska still doesn't have to know how to win close football games, 1-score losses. Nebraska still turns the football over. But if you want to be an eternal optimist, glass, you know, half full, it's like, okay, they had all these injuries. A new system comes in here. You know, you have your starting quarterback gets hurt early in the season. Even with the turnovers, they find ways to win. And you look at the Northwestern game, I mean, the way they started off and the way the defense is able to bounce back, hold teams to field goals, you can say, gosh dang, for as bad as it was at times, Nebraska looked like a very competent football program and a football team. So I think you can take a lot to the bank with that type of scenario.
Yeah, I think the good thing is if you take a look at the 2 key components in year 1, you want to look at your culture that we just talked about, and then development. And you'd be hard pressed to make the case that anybody went backwards in terms of their development. And for all the hand wringing and consternation we had about quarterbacks and running backs or whomever else, right? Players got better, right? Both Purdy and Harburg were better than the last time we saw them. The running back game evolved. Anthony Grant was better. Bryce Benhart was better. Norelli was better. So Tommy Hill, market strides. So when you take a look at guys actually getting better under the tutelage, that's another feather in the cap of this coaching staff.
I think Matt Rhule nailed it when he said you cut open, you put it on the autopsy table, you cut open the program, it's in a good place. It really feels like that.
No, I do, and I think, I know though, as right now, it's December 5th, and with the transfer portal, and you've seen how many guys have entered. Nebraska's had 1 guy so far, and I think that speaks something to that. I know a lot of time left, and things can change, but I think you'd be a little concerned if you had, 10+ guys, that said, I'm out of here. So I think internally they're doing the right things. I think guys are happy with everything. And you've seen with guys like Ty Robins coming back, obviously they like what's going on inside these walls that we're sitting in currently, and that's something that I don't think gets talked about enough and realized enough, that the culture is a really good spot.
Even guys who wanted to leave at one point, now, can you please do something to help me be able to stay, is what's happening now.
Yeah, there's tons of proof of concepts, right? You look at guys like Jamari Butler.
Exactly.
Who went from a guy where you're thinking, gosh, he looks good. It'd be nice if he played the way that he looked, right? All the way in and had a tremendous season. You looked at guys like Ty Robinson, who gave it some considerable thought on what the new regime was going to look like and whether he wanted to be a part of it. And then, on the way back, as he stand, didn't even negotiate it. Hey,
Right.
I want to be back. So when I look at things like that, they're definitely moving in the right direction.
It's a pre-recorded show, so we're not going to be able to take your phone calls like we normally do, but we will have some people getting in some comments, and we'll try to get some of those as we go along. Here's one of the important things, though. Anytime you want to get in touch with us, Big Red at nebraskapublicmedia.org or on any of our Big Red wrap-up social media accounts. Last week's sideline survey, how do you feel about 7 straight seasons with no bowl game? Pretty even spread, but mad seemed to sum up the feelings for a lot of folks. The best taking 34% of the vote. If you didn't vote on last week's sideline survey, be sure to check out the new one, which is on the website right now. It asks, how are you spending your first couple of weeks without Husker football? Are you watching other football games, cheering on the football team, preparing the holidays, or just twiddling your thumbs waiting for August 31st, the first game of the 2024 season? Personally, I'm watching a lot of football games, but yeah, volleyball team's awesome too. That's great. Before we get to our first guest, Mitch Sherman, we'll hear what Matt Rhule had to say in his final press conference of the season.
I think we got in there, we competed in every game and fought and battled and had a chance in every game. It didn't make it happen down the stretch. So I don't think it's unlucky. I think it's like, hey, let's just go back. Let's go back through the same thing from a year. Let's get a little bit better in every area, and let's make close losses close wins. I always want to take care and honor the guys that are here first. If guys decide to leave, then I'm going to go fix the problem because they left. I'm just not going to tell a guy here to leave so that I can go get somebody else. And that's, I want to be the guy that I promised all the parents I am in recruiting. If we go to the portal, I either want to get someone with at any position, someone with multiple years, I think is on caliber with the guys that we have, or someone who's instant impact upgrade, like someone who can make a difference. Make no mistake that a good quarterback in the portal costs, $1 million to $1.5 million to $2 million right now. So just on the same page. I said after the Colorado game, we were 0-2. I said, this is kind of what you get when you hire me, right? You're just going to kind of try to do it the right way and not take quick fixes. And so I think we got to 5-7. I could not tell you how disappointed I am that we're not in a bowl game. Could not tell you how soul-rockingly disappointed I am for our guys. But with that being said, I do believe, like when I was 6-6 at Temple in my second year, that not going to a bowl game ignited a fire within me and the players. And the next year we won 10 games. And I'm not making any predictions about next year. I'm just saying we will be a considerably better football team next year than we are this year.
Welcome back. We now go to our first guest of the show, Mitch Sherman, joining us from The Athletic. What struck you the most on those final comments and final press conference that Matt Rhule had?
Well, there was a lot of talk, of course, heading into the offseason about the change and what possible change there could be. And, he was asked questions about the offensive coaching staff. Of course, he's going to get asked about the quarterbacks, which was really the predominant story through most of the season, or all of the season, and it's what held Nebraska back. And when it had stable quarterback play, that's when the wins came. I was struck, I would say, by the way that Rhule just continues to jump to the defense of his players.
Yeah.
And whether it's the quarterbacks or just everybody on this roster, and how much he values the players and believes in what he is doing and what he wants to do moving forward, and building this program by recruiting talent, keeping that talent in Lincoln, and developing it.
Mitch, you look at what went well in year one with Coach Rhule, and we can discuss how well the defense performed. And they overachieved with my expectations coming this year, but you had the offseason rumblings quickly with Tony White, but them being able to keep him here for another year, little pay increase, speaks volumes kind of for what they're building in 2024. Yeah,
Tony White's now one of the highest paid coordinators in the Big Ten, and you're talking about an 18-team Big Ten, and that's no small fact. That's of significant importance for Nebraska heading into the 2024 season, which is a landmark season just in the environment of college football that we're moving into this future. So if Nebraska were to lose a coordinator in that situation and have to go into year two with this coaching staff and be back at square one with where it's at on defensive leadership, that's taking a step back with the growth and the progress that you want to have. And clearly Tony White came in to Lincoln and he hit the ground running. Players believed in him. They understood what he was trying to teach. And now Nebraska is at a major advantage on other programs that are going through these kind of changes as the Big Ten itself undergoes a huge change because it has that foundation with a defensive coordinator.
Mitch, you've heard a lot of coaches over the last handful of years, and how'd you guys discern in the media between clarity and consistency of message versus coach speak? Because this feels a lot different.
Yeah, I think the thing you have to understand with Matt Rhule is just how strong of a communicator and how good of a speaker he is. So sometimes it is easy to get lost in understanding that. You can think something sounds like real, true, genuine talk when it is more coach speak. But I think that there's a lot of genuineness in what he says. At least that's how I perceive it. I'm not skeptical when I listen to him talk. I believe in the message that he's promoting. I think that the people around the program at this point, the recruits that he's talking to, I think they believe in the message that he's spreading about this program. And the thing is I think you mentioned consistency. There's consistency. It's one thing if somebody sounds believable in September and then they sound believable in December, but they're different messages. With Rhule, he's reacting to the circumstances that have come up with this team, but it's all of the messages are consistent and are built on the same foundation.
You referenced that message at the beginning. We're going to build with these guys. We're not going to cut a bunch of players. We're not going to bring in a bunch of portal guys. Is that the way to do it, though? I mean, is that the way? Well, I guess we're going to find out, but is that the best way you think to do it nowadays in this new Big Ten?
I mean, it's against the grain. When you look around college football and you see the transfer portal open this week, and there are players at programs that are in better positions than Nebraska. I mean, programs that have 1 or 2 losses this season, and they're, the people are jumping overboard. And it's not always because those players want to leave. Sometimes they're getting shown the door. And you had players on day one of the portal being opened, schools on day one that lost, upwards of 8, 10, 12 players. And, Nebraska is also in a position with its numbers where some of that turnover and some of that change is going to have to come. But Rhule wants to do this in a way where he's not telling players that they have to leave. Right. And yeah, I think this is where Nebraska's at. Nebraska has tried it the other way, where it had mass turnover offseason after offseason after offseason, and it's taking the route now where it wants to be stable and build on that kind of a system.
Yeah, I'm totally agree. It needs to come within. You want to be able to go out and grab some guys here and there, quarterback, a wide receiver, a defensive lineman here and there. But roster management is key going forward. This new age of college football, NIL, transfer portal. Obviously, I think we're all in agreement that quarterback is an important position. If that is number one, what is your second position that they need to go find a guy in the portal in early December?
Yeah, you mentioned wide receiver. Yeah. And I think with what Nebraska has back, and we'll find out about Isaiah Garcia-Castaneda, he's more likely, I think, to return than Marcus Washington, who Marcus has played 5 years of college football, and it would take, I think Matt Rhule put it, a complex waiver for him to be able to come back for another year. Now, it may happen. We see it with players. A 6th-year senior is not unusual, especially in this age where players had a COVID season, and Marcus played at Texas in the COVID season. So, but he's used 4 seasons of eligibility. So we'll see. And Garcia-Castaneda, of course, coming back from an injury. If those guys are here, or even one of those guys is here, then you kind of check that experience box. Beyond that, there's not experience. Nobody at the wide receiver position beyond those 2 who are on the roster or potentially on the roster right now have played more than 1 season of college football. You're talking about Alex Bullock as your next most experienced guy alongside Malachi Coleman and Jalen Lloyd, and then a bunch of freshmen. So yeah, I do think that they should hit the portal and find somebody with experience. If they can find the next Samori Toure, then I'm not even mentioning Trey Palmer. I don't know that he's out there ready to jump in at Nebraska. Those were unique circumstances that got him here with Mickey Joseph, but somebody like Samori Toure is probably out there, and it's the task is going to find that guy. But yeah, quarterback is number one, head and shoulders.
It's interesting too, because those 2 things kind of go together. You don't want to stymie the growth of the young guys, right? Yeah. I think Demetrius Bell is going to be a really good player. Jalen Lloyd, some of these young guys have shown flashes, so you don't want to put the kibosh on growth, but you would like a little leadership and maturity in that room. That's kind of where the magic is.
Yeah, and you mentioned Bell, and there are other freshmen that they're high on Jaden Doss. You know, Nebraska is comfortable enough with the freshman class that came in at receiver this year that they took players who were receivers like Bryce Turner and Jeremiah Charles and moved them over to the defensive side, where there's a lot of bodies in that secondary room too.
Point.
But they feel great about the young receivers. It's just, you know, the growth doesn't come overnight, and it's fantastic for Coleman and for Lloyd that they got this year, and even Doss with his 4 games that they got this year to have that experience, but they could benefit from having an older voice in the room, in addition to everyone on the offense benefiting from that.
What about the running back room? Obviously, you have guys coming back from injury. Emmett Johnson did great here as a freshman. There's guys, there's bodies. What do you feel about that position?
Yeah, I think they have to target a 24 recruit, and there are very few spots left in the 2024 class before December 20th, but I think that's a priority for them, is finding a true freshman running back to come in, so it's kind of spaced out. You have the older guys with Ramir Johnson. You know, Gabe Irvin is now getting up in age in his career. He's an upperclassman. You mentioned Emmett. They have Quentin Ives, who was able to redshirt this year. So there's bodies there, although 2 of those players are coming back from season-ending injuries, and Irvin has been hurt multiple times, and Johnson's had Ramir Johnson has been banged up several times in his career. So I think they need somebody else. There are players, in the walk-on group that I think can contribute, but as far as a scholarship list, they need somebody else, whether it is in that 24 class, which I think is ideal, but if not, then you have to go find somebody from junior college or the portal.
Do we keep it? Do you think it stays completely the same the way it is in terms of the structure of the coaching staff? We talk about Tony White being back, and obviously you have somebody steps up at tight end position in the middle of the season. Do you think it stays the same?
I really don't. I think there's a good chance that there's going to be some kind of shuffling on the offensive side. Whether that is to bring in a quarterbacks coach and allow Marcus Satterfield to focus on the things that he does in game planning and in just running the offense. That was a lot for him this year. And it wasn't the expectation going into the offseason last year after Matt Rule was hired to have Satterfield coach the quarterbacks and coordinate the offense. But that's the way it turned out. And there also was not the expectation that you were going to have to start 3 quarterbacks and deal with injuries and deal with these turnover issues. So he ended up with a lot on his plate. And I think that they'll look at that and consider options to avoid a situation like that again in 24.
Yeah, they also had the situation that's kind of interesting where you had an analyst all of a sudden assume a coaching spot. So you have a spot available. You could use it a couple of different ways. Mm-hmm. You think that's in the cards for how they maneuver that, and maybe as it relates to recruiting? Yeah,
it's on the table. I think there's several things on the table on the offensive side. Some may come as a surprise to people if and when it happens in December or January. And then there's always the specter out there of what happens when changes occur in the NFL after the NFL regular season. And this is a staff that's rich with coaches who have experience in the NFL, of course, because Matt Rule and so many of these assistant coaches came from the Carolina Panthers and have good reputations. That you may see a trickle-down effect
and
after
the coaches conference in January.
Right, you may see. You have that on the college side, and then the NFL season ends right after that. Right, sometimes during the AFCA convention, and there's a lot of movement around that time in the college and pro ranks. And I think there are coaches on the defensive side for Nebraska who, if they want them, have earned opportunities at the next level.
Yeah. Is there a couple names in the portal that you've been looking at? I mean, it's 1,100 went in the first day. It's 4,000 in the portal, but are there a couple
Let
names?
me go through my list here, 1,100. I try to download all of them. I mean, the focus, as I said, is on quarterbacks. I mean, we'll get to the point in this weeding out process where we look at receivers. Maybe Nebraska looks at an offensive tackle. Just about had a couple of offensive tackles out of the portal last year that could have been huge for this team, although the offensive line, I think, was one of the most improved groups on the whole roster. I mean, they may look at a linebacker, depending on who we still find out about on if they return. I'm looking at John Bullock. He walked on senior day. We don't know yet for certain if he's done. If he does leave, then maybe there's a linebacker that Nebraska looks at in the portal. But the quarterbacks are top of mind. And you look at Will Howard at Kansas State, is clearly someone that Nebraska has interest in. You look at Sam Levitt at Michigan State, who redshirted, played in 4 games. One of those 4 games, the only game that he played in that Michigan State won this year, he threw a touchdown pass in, was against Nebraska.
Yeah.
So the coaches are familiar with him from that setting. That's at the top. I think as we go through this first week with the portal open, we're going to hear more names, and we've already heard more names, but we'll hear more about who Nebraska is going to visit and perhaps bringing in on officials right here.
Mitch, we appreciate it, and have a great offseason.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Coming up after this short break, we'll of course get some more, and Stephen M. Sipple as well. But now we have some great photos from Hurrdat Sports. Welcome back to Big Red Wrap Up. We are now joined by Stephen Sipple from On3 and Husker Online. All of those things you do so much. You're so busy.
I really don't.
We appreciate you being on with us. We're going to do a Big Red report card. Okay, we're going to go through different positions and kind of get grades on them. We're going to start off with the offense, not including the quarterback. What would you give the grade for the 2023 Husker offense?
Well, not including the
Not including the quarterback, so everything else.
I'm in the B minus range. I mean, I like the running backs. I thought ran hard. When you talk about when you get down, particularly to the final stages of the season, I thought Emmett Johnson. I mean, he's not a great running back, but he runs hard. Fleeks runs hard.
That's kind of bold just saying the man's not great. He could be, can't he? He could be. I mean,
malign Emmett Johnson.
I'm not maligning him. He's fine.
He's pretty good.
We're kind of poo-pooing. He's fine. Okay. But he was a 4-string running back.
Yeah,
that's what he was.
Well, that was right. Yeah.
Behind a bunch of veterans.
But at the bottom line, he was 4-string, and if that's what he is right now.
The opening day guy back in special teams. As a returner.
Right.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? There's the threesome at the end. Emmett Johnson, Fleeks, and who was the third one? Grant. Yeah, and he's fine. He was good.
Yeah.
They ran hard.
Yeah.
Receivers, young, fine. They were fine for their youth. And the line, I thought, took a step forward. And I'm in the B minus range across the board.
You guys feel that same way? By the way, at one point, Damon was the 4-string running back in Nebraska. I ended up starting a game, okay?
It's a little different era.
Yeah, it was different. Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I don't know if I'm that high. I think overall, it's still it's hard because how do you grade it kind of on a curve because of
year one?
Year one and injuries
Interesting.
and stuff like that. So, and I think in the turnover situation, I would say more of a C for
Bouncy
me.
C.
I would be maybe a C plus, type of area, and that's fine. We all understand that C's get degrees, so a lot of times it can get the job done. Unfortunately, it wasn't good enough.
You guys hire us to get A's.
These get to
Yeah. So, but the quarterback play was what's held them back. But I thought, for me, offensive line very much improved.
Yeah.
Bryce Benhart probably arguably one of the most improved players on this roster this year.
Yeah.
How do you grade like the, guys like, the young wide receiving core? They obviously get a chance to mature, but you look at the tight end room. Guys like Fedoni, he hadn't played in 3 years.
Yeah.
And I know a lot was expected, but ton of upside. Like, does the curve allow for maturation, or are you just
Yes.
staying kind of in the moment?
I'm staying mostly in the moment. I didn't mention the tight ends. They were, in the B minus, B range, I thought. See, here's the thing. It's a tough. I was really hard on the quarterbacks. I thought the quarterbacks dragged back the whole operation.
Yeah. We'll get to that next.
Which is interesting because they were better than they were in the spring.
Okay.
Well,
I don't know what to say about that.
Well, I just
What could that
I
look
just
like?
think because part of development is you have to. Good teachers meet students right where they're at. You can't fast forward them to where you want them to be. So that's part of the growth. So maybe the baseline needs to be raised.
So overall, you had B, you said C, Damon, you said
I go C plus.
C plus. Okay,
Well,
let's go to the quarterbacks because this is obviously a tough part. What's your grade?
Well, what? I mean, come on. It can't be
Part of
above
what
it.
Damon said is true because you do bring in a guy like Joe Purdy all of a sudden who's playing a lot better than the last time we saw him. But overall,
I mean, we were snickering after spring, if we're being honest,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, or you take them individually or as a group.
I think as a group, yeah.
Yeah, I can't go above a D. I mean, Nebraska led the nation in turnovers,
Yep.
extreme.
Yeah,
And
80% were from the quarterback.
80% from the quarterbacks. That's an extreme stat. I mean, it's sort of I mean, if you would have told me in August, Steve, they're going to lead the country in turnovers.
Yeah.
I would have said that's trouble.
Yeah.
And I can't give
And
them
you'd have
above
said
a D.
2 and 10 for a record, probably
Something
too.
not good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the weird thing about that is the interceptions are going to happen. I think the inability to take care of the football with fumbles was
Yeah.
probably the most alarming, at least for me.
Yeah. Early in the season, it really hurt them. Oh, I mean, throughout.
Yeah. Wait, D, C.
D. Oh, quarterback play?
Yeah.
D. I mean, this was the worst offensive output since 1968.
There you go.
And it's. I mean, obviously, the hard thing is you bring in a guy, you hit your wagon to a transfer guy who had turnover problems already. You thought you might be able to change it here, still has them, have injuries. You implement a new type of game plan with Harvard to get the most of that situation because Purdy's still kind of banged up. Yeah. But I think the management wise of the quarterback, by the staff, I'd probably give that a B. But overall, the quarterback play, it's in the D category for me.
Yeah.
Held back the operation.
Irony or proof of concept that the offensive line was easily the most improved group with all on the offensive side, with all the talk and hand-wringing of Coach Raiola.
Proof of concept.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it was luck. I think that, it's interesting, isn't it? I was just thinking about it yesterday. There's no fire Raiola discussion anymore.
Coach
Solid.
Rule called it. He said it before the season multiple times. This offensive line will be good. It's better than what you think.
Yep.
He said it over and over again.
He did. He said that about the D line too.
Yeah. So we got
Right.
D's. Let's go to defense. I'll start off with defense. Where you got it grade-wise?
I mean, a B plus, B plus.
You're a hard grader.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, Iowa ran for 163.
They did 3 big
And
runs.
but those count.
Sure, no
I mean,
doubt.
I know what people say sometimes. Well, but they had a long. Yeah, that counts. It's big.
Yeah.
It was a huge run.
Especially the timing, it definitely counts.
Yeah. So, but no lower than a B. I mean,
Right.
B plus.
Damon.
I'm a B plus, A minus kind of guy. With the number of guys that they could play, the evolution of the D line, how the tackling improved dramatically, even though there were some letdown moments, I understand that. But from a learning of a new concept and what they were able to do as a top 30 unit,
Yeah.
they're A minus, B plus.
As the defensive guy on our staff.
It's an A minus. If they could have got more timely stops in certain situations, this is an A plus type of performance. I mean, if this defense wasn't, if they weren't up to performed nearly as well, I mean, it's probably a 2-win team.
If they get off the field on third down, you could play with that few of takeaways.
Totally.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But the ability to get stops, I mean, it's just at times leaky, tackling wasn't great. But the ability to make stops on 4th and 1s, a couple times at Wisconsin, blocked field goals here. I don't know if you want to declare that, special teams or defense, but those are defensive guys. They're making plays. And just that Northwestern game still sticks out to me of all the plays they made early on. And just overall, Illinois you can say the same thing with the Illinois game. Just the ability to, on quick change, step up and hold them to 3 or no points. That's very impressive.
There's a lot of that. I mean, it is close to an A, but I can't do it because, you just go back to Michigan State, just okay performance, really. Wisconsin, given a big lead, gave up some big plays late.
Huge plays against Maryland. One
Maryland
of the best offenses
late.
they played.
Right.
But also you had you got a defensive pass interference that, it seems that drive, and so it's really tough.
And cover 3.
Yeah.
Right? Like that. It's hard to do. That's not on philosophy.
Yeah.
I like that defense, though. I like the personnel. I mean, it was an interesting defense to me because it was devoid of stars, but it's kind of a no-name crew.
Nobody made the big. I mean, really, they didn't get first, second, or third team.
No.
Let's go to special teams.
Spotty.
Depends on what part you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
The kickoff coverage was great. The punt return, kickoff return.
Right,
Field goal,
the
punting.
the operation was good.
Yeah.
Never had problem with Ortiz at all. It's just spotty. It was good at times, bad at times, in between at times. C.
Yeah, I'm a solid C. I agree with that. Situationally, the grades fluctuate from A's to F's.
Yeah.
But in its totality, I'd probably give it a C.
There were some F games for sure.
Yeah, the F games for sure. Being Wisconsin was not very good on that side of things. I'd give it a C too. I think surprisingly, their special teams almost outplayed Iowa's special teams in this.
They did.
A couple of weeks ago, which is usually in Iowa. That's why they've been able to win so many low-scoring games because their special teams have been fantastic. But I think overall, young freshman kicker, spotty on the punting games, but the coverage units were really good this year.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to coaching, which is one of the most important ones. We go C with special teams. What do you about coaching?
I'd go B-, C+. I always look to see if a coaching staff maximizes.
Yeah.
I thought it looked like they were going to, then they lost 4 straight at the end of the season. So tough circumstances, though. You can't.
Miracle workers, man, at times.
At times, yeah. The injuries were incredible on offense.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
It was.
And they had to work around those, and I thought they did a pretty good job of that. So I'd say B-.
So it's a little complicated. I'll try to go quick. Tactical versus technical, right? Tactically, I felt like they're pretty good. The execution left a little to be desired. So let's say like clock management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But getting the most out of what they had, it's undeniable that they performed at a high level. No all-conference guys on defense, and we give them a B.
Yeah.
3 quarterbacks, 4-string running back, as you like to tell us. The multitude of guys that were hurt on the offense. I think we need perspective. It's at minimum a B. I give coaching a B+, and it could have been an A outside of some situational management things, but you talk about maximizing your personnel, it's a B.
Yeah, I'm right there. I think C+, B- for for how the staff operated in year one. I think with all the injuries and just the depth issues, I think that's something you definitely have to consider. Perspective is a great word, like DB said. But the clock management, I still right here in this end zone where we're filming, the play call that happened against Maryland, I still can't come to my grasp with that play call. Total disagreement with it in that situation. Just because you've leaned on your defense so much to make plays, and it was an extra point for 3 points essentially, and you just didn't do it. I've vented and I've been on my soapbox multiple shows already about that play call. But I think overall I would give it a B, just with time management. And if it's clock management and play calling, I don't know if those are kind of go hand in hand. They can sometimes, but I think that's the one thing that's kind of held them back from not being on where it needs to be.
Yeah. You see our final report card, and quarterback obviously holding us back, but in the end, you graduate from school with that. You get out.
They graduated.
You're mathematicians.
One last thing.
What's that average?
I don't know.
Real quick, one last thing. Better than what you expected? Same as what you expected? for the season?
I was in the all summer. I was in the 6 and 6, 7 and 5 camp.
Okay.
Didn't anticipate the injuries, but I also didn't anticipate how bad the Big Ten West was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, overall grade is going to get dragged back by the quarterbacks. It is, frankly. I mean,
Did it meet your expectation?
It did, because I think that's interesting that people say how bad the Big Ten West was. Northwestern exceeded expectations. Iowa won 10 games. Nobody called that, and Wisconsin is going bowling again. I don't know about how bad the Big Ten West was. I know what it looked like aesthetically, but they sure did win more than I thought they would with a couple of those teams.
Yeah, I was in the 6 and 6. I thought, just looking at it, things are so difficult when you're transitioning to new staff. I've been a part of that. You just don't know quite what to expect philosophically and just culturally and all those things. But it was so close to being really good. A really good season. It was so close. And that's what is so hard to still stomach in early December, is that you're 5 and 3 with 4 left to play, and it doesn't happen.
Which one of those do you think was the most winnable of the last 4?
Maryland,
Really?
or Iowa. Yeah, I mean, yeah, those are crushing losses. Before the Michigan State game, I said there is no way they'll lose all 4. No shot.
Yeah, I didn't.
No shot.
We were doing math after
Jinx.
Purdue on how they could win the West.
Right.
We were doing math on where they could go in a New Year's Six bowl.
Right.
I mean, we were doing math, trying to figure stuff out.
That was me respecting Nebraska.
Sure.
I thought this is a good team. They'll get 1.
Yeah.
Probably 2. I'm still a little floored that they didn't get 1.
I'm kind of excited. We're in this building, and I look up there, and it talks, 396 sellouts. 4th game of the season next year, because Illinois is going to be that 400 sellout. What do you think that's going to mean for the program?
Well, it always means a lot, and it means more and more to me, because these fans that stick with this program mean a lot to me. They do. And the ones that stick with it are really the true fans. I mean, because it's not easy. This season wasn't easy. The recent seasons have been difficult. So that's what it means to me. And it actually means more and more every year to me.
You think they bring in a quarterback that's maybe like the FCS level, or they bring in somebody who's a Power 5 quarterback? What do you think they end up bringing in?
Well, I mean, we're reporting Sam Leavitt. I mean, they talked to Sam Leavitt.
Sure.
Satterfield was with Sam Leavitt, the Michigan State quarterback, last night or yesterday in Lansing. Looks like they're going to go see a kid from Baylor. I don't know who it'll ultimately be. I know they're looking at multiple.
Sure.
They're not just looking at a couple. They're looking at different guys. I like Leavitt a lot. Now, he'd only be he has 4 years of eligibility. He's a young guy, but he's really athletic. He's cocky. I think he'd like this place. I think he could handle it. He can throw, but his escapability a lot.
Yeah.
And he's a dude. He's a confident guy.
Sip, we appreciate it. Have a great offseason.
God bless you.
Stephen M. Sipple. We turn now to a story of a family from North Platte who turned their love of the game for football into a thriving hat business. Check it out.
This unique ball cap with a leather patch made from a game-used football can be found all over North Platte. In the historic downtown shop, in the high school store, and on the heads of residents all around town. And although these hats are made in the city limits, the business named Hyde Park Apparel started its journey back in Texas with a childhood passion for the sport.
I was at home in Texas at my folks' house over Thanksgiving, and kind of had the idea when I was looking through our old garage and seeing some really dusty old footballs that hadn't been played with for a long time. That kind of sparked the idea of, what if they didn't just collect dust in the garage? What if you could repurpose them into something?
Honestly, I think he was kind of playing it off on I don't know if this is a great idea, but what if we took game-used footballs and cut up the leather and made patch hats out of them? And I mean, I remember looking at my friends and being like, that's actually a really cool idea.
Our first prototype, if you will, was kind of this old rubbery, nasty football that I thought, okay, if I just cut something out by hand and slapped it on a hat, would that even look cool? So me being a true Texan, I cut out the shape of a Texas, and I thought it looked really cool. And then even my other friends from Georgia and my wife from Nebraska, even though not from Texas, they still thought the Texas patch looked cool. So that first one made the cut, if you will, and we decided from there, what if we made more?
As their designs expanded, so did the business. After long days at the office, they were supporting Hyde Park Apparel late into the night. Then, in 2020, the spread of COVID-19 affected Josh's 9-to-5 in Georgia. The Spurleys decided it was time to move their family and business back to Caitlin's hometown, North Platte. The community wrapped their arms around the family business, helping Hyde Park grow even more.
They reached out to me over Facebook for the chance to put their hats into our school store, unknowing that I also run a small business here that sells clothes and accessories. I kind of worked with him to get not only our high school store on board with their hats, but also our store, and people love them.
They've really rallied behind us, which has been great. I mean, that's the Nebraska spirit behind just the good old people that want to support local.
I was in small business banking here in North Platte. Most nights and weekends from like 9 to 11, 9 to midnight, I'd be cutting leather patches and attaching hats. I had a number of folks in my corner just say, hey, when are you going to take the big leap? And so while I did enjoy what I did in banking, it was like, I'm not getting any younger. Like if I want to follow my dreams and do an entrepreneurial venture, there's no time like the present. So took that leap and haven't looked back. Completed that, just like that.
I thought when he quit his job that I was gonna stay put with my full-time position where I was for a while, because you don't just both jump ship. Well, it grew fast enough where it was kind of, in my mind, I was like, he needs help. We met working together. We know the pros and cons, and we've walked through the pros and cons and the roller coaster that can be, but it's been a good thing, and I enjoy working with him.
With both Josh and Caitlin working the business full-time from home, their daughters get to be a part of Hyde Park. The love for football that started in Josh's childhood now gets to be shared firsthand with kids of his own.
Part of the reason we took the jump to doing this full-time was because we want to put our family first, and so with football being tied to that, it's really cool.
Our 6-year-old Joy, I mean, she can play a part where she loves to put our stickers on our hats to mark our brand, and she likes to take pride in putting it on there the right way every time and that sort of deal. Our 3-year-old, I don't know if she knows a ton of what's going on a lot of times. I hope she thinks it's neat that Daddy's following his dreams and owning a family business and trying to kind of control our own destiny. On if you put in the hard work, hopefully that will pay off.
Really awesome learning about the hats, but even better to spend some time with the Spurley family. That was really cool. Let's head over now to Ian Vosberg to learn more about how you can help support Nebraska Public Sports media programming.
Hi everyone, Nebraska Public Media is Nebraska's home for sports, and Big Red Wrap-Up is one of the big reasons why. During our fall membership drive right now is a great time to give back for what you've received from Big Red Wrap-Up this year. Those who support Nebraska Public Media with financial contributions make programs like this happen. Thank you for becoming a member or for renewing your membership. You do that by calling 800-989-8236 or going online nebraskapublicmedia.org/donate. You can choose from one of these great thank you gifts when you donate. When you make a donation of $25 a month as a Sustaining Star member, we would love to thank you with a Nebraska football signed by Tom Osborne. Coach Osborne led the Huskers as head coach for 25 seasons, winning 3 national titles. Osborne's legacy extends beyond the game of football, but football is where he became a household name in Nebraska. When you make a donation of $5 a month as a Sustaining Star member, we would love to thank you with the Clear Tote Bag. It has a zipper top, meets stadium guidelines for that clear bag policy, and has a Nebraska Public Media logo on it. You can make your donation right now at 800-989-8236 or go online nebraskapublicmedia.org/donate. Your support of quality programming on Nebraska Public Media also gives you access to an incredible members-only library, PBS Passport. Members love this member benefit. Programs with PBS Passport include Masterpiece, Nature, and Nova, and so many more. You'll also find many locally produced programs. Make your donation of at least $5 a month or more, and you'll have access to this member benefit, PBS Passport. Make that donation at nebraskapublicmedia.org or give us a call at 800-989-8236. When you're there, you can also select a thank you gift when you make your donation. With that donation of $25 a month as a Sustaining Star member, that's $300 with a one-time gift. We can thank you with the Nebraska football signed by Tom Osborne. Tom Osborne led the Huskers to 3 national titles during his 25-year career. If you make your donation of $5 a month as a Sustaining Star member, that's $60 with a one-time gift. We'll thank you with the Queer Tote Bag. Has a Nebraska Public Media logo and meets the queer bag policies at many stadiums. Make that donation right now, 800-989-8236, or go online, nebraskapublicmedia.org/donate. You can be part of the Nebraska Public Media Sports Partners Club. You'll be supporting the coverage of Husker sports and high school action like the recent volleyball and football state championships. These are significant events for Nebraska Public Media, and when you support Nebraska Public Media, you are supporting all of these programs. Make your donation right now, 800-989-8236, and thank you.
Pleased to introduce Sean Callahan of HuskersIllustrated.com. He is with us to begin our long and comprehensive look this season at Husker recruiting. Sean, it's great to have you with us.
Thanks very much, Kevin.
Who are the top 5 Nebraska's looking at?
Really, the big name guy right now is Marlon Lucky. He's out of California. He's a 5-star running back, the #1 player in the state of California, #3 running back overall.
We appreciate Ian for joining us with the program. And then, who's that guy? 20 years ago. Look at that guy.
That was awesome.
Had a little higher pitched voice,
Yeah.
a lot more hair.
Yeah, a lot more hair, yeah. How about Kevin in shorts?
GQ
How about
smooth, right?
That was
shorts?
a demo. So that was my demo. Like,
Oh, okay,
so I had to
okay.
come in for an audition
Right.
to see if I could handle live TV. And
Sure.
so it was a summertime demo.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're going to pretend to do a show. So let's do a show.
That is awesome. And Marlon Lucky is a part of it. That's great, too. Let's get into some recruiting. I mean, we're taping this on a Tuesday morning. Things are changing by the minute, but you got any updates for us?
Well, the coaches on the road right now, I think the biggest thing yesterday, Marcus Satterfield was in East Lansing, Michigan, to meet with quarterback Will Levitt out there this week, or Sam Levitt, excuse me. And they're also looking at shaping the Baylor quarterback today as we speak. So
Louisiana kid.
They're talking to a lot of different quarterbacks right now, kind of trying to move the pieces. I think what you want to look for right now is, will there be a visitor in Lincoln this weekend? And even the next weekend. But will there be a quarterback visitor that makes their way to campus this weekend? I think that would be a really good sign that that's the guy they're zoning in on. And as you know, there's a lot more elements involved with NIL and other factors that have to kind of get ironed out as they try to find one of these big name quarterbacks.
Let's highlight one of the commits from 2024, CJ Simon out of Oklahoma City, right?
Yeah, CJ Simon from Moore High School in Oklahoma City. He's a 2025 wide receiver. He committed to the Huskers on Saturday, which is a pleasant surprise. He was here earlier this year for a home game on September 16th. And Nebraska had offered him. He had Texas Tech and Kansas, Oklahoma State, a number of other regional Big 12 schools in his final group. Had a big year with over 50 catches, over 800 yards receiving. Committed on Saturday, really likes Garrett McGuire, likes the program here, and it was a nice, pleasant surprise to get a 2025, especially an out-of-stater like that this early.
Yeah, I saw him at the top 250 in Kansas City. MR competed against him. He's ultra quick. Like, the film may not do it justice, but his ability to get off the line of scrimmage is pretty impressive.
And you saw that with speed, Jalen Lloyd, Malachi Coleman, what that can do, and that seems to be the profile of guys that they continue to bring in, because there's a lot of things you can coach, but you can't coach speed.
Let's talk about the kids from Millard South. I know Amari Jackson, I've seen him. There was a big debate on who's the best wide receiver in the state this year, but what about those two guys?
Yeah, I think there's, you look at Millard South, they didn't make it to the finals, but a lot of people felt like they might have been second best team all year to Westside, and they have a great sophomore class. Amari Jackson, the wide receiver, a dynamic playmaker. I think you can make a case he might have been the best receiver in the state this year, and I'll let the guy next to me give his opinion on that, but one of, if not the best, one of the best, especially for his age. And I'll be really interested what type of recruiting attention he'll receive in January. He'll get some in December, but will there be coaches that kind of fly by Millard South to get an early look at him? And Jet Tamala, the quarterback there as well, is another talented young prospect in the state to keep an eye on at Millard South, who had a really good season, just fell short of Lincoln here by one game.
Warren Jackson, some really good potential there, right?
Yeah, he can high point a ball. Pretty good route runner, and I like him because he's competitive, right? A lot of people talk about what he isn't. He believes full in what he is. He is a highly, highly competitive kid.
Confident kid as well. Let's check in on our sideline survey. How are you spending the first couple of weeks without Husker football? 49% of people say cheering on the volleyball team. 26, watching other college football games, twiddling thumbs, and then last, preparing for the, who's not preparing for the holidays? Shouldn't we be doing that by right now? I think we should be doing that right now, preparing for the holidays. Transfer window obviously opening up, a lot of talk about that. In terms of how do you feel when you see Nebraska only losing one player so far?
Yeah, 1,100 guys went in the transfer portal on the opening day alone. Nebraska had just one.
Yeah.
So, quite an anomaly, and I think Matt Rule prepared us for that last week when he talked about the culture and the program and what's going on. There's going to be a few more that go in naturally, but I think that tells you kind of what he's building. The culture they've built, the structure they've built with their roster, the NIL situation with the entire roster, that guys like things in Lincoln right now, and they like where it's heading with Matt Rule. So we'll see where it all goes, but you've got a 30-day window here, Michael. Then there's a 15-day window in the spring. So those are the two windows that guys can opt into the transfer portal and kind of decide things.
And there's so much coming with NIL, right? We talked before the show about how eventually you got to think the schools are going to be in charge of this.
Yeah, and it's
you have to.
Well, and I think the news came out this morning that the NCAA is setting up a situation to where the universities are able to set up a trust and then handle NIL directly from the university. So you're going to have your collectives, and you're going to have essentially what you'd call a trust fund or a trust account that's you're able to figure out how your dollars are going to certain programs, and then obviously athletes. So things are evolving. But another thing, I didn't realize that with NIL, kids are asking for money just to take a visit.
Yeah,
I'm hearing kids are requiring $5,000 to $10,000 just to step foot on the campus for a visit. That just that just is a crazy situation that for me to even comprehend at times.
It's a business. Let me know right away who I wouldn't want on my campus.
Right.
No, I just not sure you can win like that if that's a prerequisite.
Right. We're seeing people leave who have starting positions at schools that are good schools, and a big reason is because they know they can get more money someplace else. I mean, that's a real change in everything involving college football.
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Kyle McCord wins 11 games at Ohio State, and he goes in the portal as an 11-game winner. But a lot of it was, I think, Ohio State just said there's no guarantee you're the guy next year. And all of a sudden, all right, it's time to renegotiate, hit the portal, and go. But yeah, I do think this cycle, as we get another year down the road, it's just gotten wilder and wilder. 2 years ago, it was just starting. And each year since then, NIL has just gotten wilder each offseason.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. Looking at 2024 real quick before we get into it, we mentioned the fourth game of the season, maybe the 400 sellout. But in general, the schedule looks like a schedule where Nebraska get off to a fast start. Kind of like 2016, second year of a coaching staff too.
Yeah, I think when you look at the schedule for Nebraska, I mean, they're the Colorado situation, you don't know what it's going to look like in Boulder, but you have to like that first 7 games, to kind of figure out your team and what can you get out of that first 7 games. I mean, what is the realistic line? I mean, can you get 5 or 6 wins out of that? I mean, I think if you're an optimistic fan about Nebraska, you're like, yeah, if we put this team together with a quarterback and the line of scrimmage is stabilized like we think it's going to be, they can get off to a great start before they go on to that gauntlet of Ohio State, UCLA, USC, Wisconsin, and then what's Iowa going to look like by that time next year.
One of the interesting things is, you bring in Oregon, Washington, UCLA, USC, UCLA, all new quarterbacks for all of those programs too.
Yeah, and it'll be a dramatic shift. I was really looking to see who was on the road in November.
Right.
UCLA has to come here, and it's just different. It's not Southern California.
No.
It's November, and Nebraska will be built for the long haul because they're good up front. Now UCLA has tried to make some strides in terms of how they run the football, especially the last couple of years. But there'll be some transitioning that those schools will have to do.
Yeah, there's a chance maybe one of the national champs coming in.
Yeah,
Washington maybe.
You get a team like Washington and Oregon, they're already built for the physicality.
Yeah.
In this USC situation, obviously, what's Caleb Williams' situation heading into 2024? What is, they're somehow hired a defensive coordinator.
Right.
So just that and just adapting to Big Ten football. Yeah, it's nice to play out in LA in September and October where there's no wind and in 75 degrees, but they're coming in here where it's 35 degrees and wind's blowing, but that takes some adapting to and getting used to.
Yeah, and Dan Lanning likes to run the ball too.
Yeah, I don't necessarily worry about Oregon's physicality. We'll see if he stays at Oregon.
Sure.
He could be on the move, as could a couple of those guys, but Washington and Oregon, at least right now, especially under Kalen DeBoer, those guys are built up front and they play that way. I know Washington is dynamic outside the numbers, but their O-line, D-line, much more physical than I think people thought.
How does it open up Nebraska? And I know they've always been a West Coast. They've since the late 60s, early 70s, they've been able to go into California. But how do you think this opens up and changes a little bit, being able to recruit west?
Yes and no. I mean, they've always, like you said, gone out to California, but you look at this cycle alone, there really isn't anybody.
Sure.
The areas are Texas and Florida, and then the Northeast, where Matt Rule has those kind of Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York connections. So we haven't seen, you know, the West Coast influence on there. Now, are they not going to recruit? They'll still go out there, but
Sure.
I think it's just got to make sense.
It would fit me to go out there even more, knowing that those players are going to, their parents are going to see them come in and play.
And kind of like the old Big 12 days,
Sure,
you could always
Texas.
tell a Texas kid, you'll be down here at least 1 or 2 games a year. And that always played a factor because families like, all right, we'll have a couple games down here and we can make the 500-mile drive to Lincoln.
Yeah. You grew up like in USC. You kind of excited about eventually seeing them here in Memorial Stadium?
Yeah, it's one of the many things I got from my father, just watching them on television with the White Horse. And I'm excited. I like kind of hope they get to the pod system with the 4 teams and the now defunct Pac-12. But it should be pretty cool. I'm all for helmet games, and there'll be quite a few of those.
No doubt about that. Let's get to burning questions. We'll start with you, Sean.
Who's the quarterback? What will the quarterback situation be for Nebraska in 2024? What will that portal quarterback, who will it be as we kind of wrap up this 2023 calendar?
Yeah, if winning was in the psyche for close games, will a new year bring a new mindset with a much younger team that under year 2 of Coach Rule?
I think that the focus in this offseason is still on the offensive side of the football. Sean's already alluded to the quarterback situation. Do they tweak the offensive staff at all just to improve that, leave some duties from some Satterfield, just so this offense can kind of get on the right track?
Right there with Jay as well. I mean, honestly, it's not going to be the same. As we talked about earlier, you'll have some positions opening up in the NFL, maybe a guy named after a really good beef product, maybe he ends up going to the league, you never know. So I personally think that, and the question is, what will this coaching staff look like and what will the duties look like when we start next season? Obviously, the season is over, and Big Red Wrap-Up is over for the season, but there are plenty more sport content coming your way on Nebraska Public Media, starting with Nebraska women's basketball when they welcome in the Southern Jaguars to PBA. That game will start at noon on Sunday, December 17th, and can be watched on Nebraska Public Media. Then we'll see you back for Big Red Wrap-Up in February for our recruiting special. Mark your calendars for Thursday, February the 8th. We want to thank Mitch Sherman, Stephen M. Sipple, Ian Vosberg, and the entire crew, of course, Damon and Jay and Sean for the whole season long. It was outstanding. We really appreciate everybody for tuning in as well. And of course, we'll be back with more Big Red Wrap-Up next season.